Hello everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is HauteLeMode, and today we're going to be deciding whether or not Cardi B is actually a fashion icon in the making, or whether she's one of the Instagram baddies that doesn't actually know how to dress. But before we get any further into the video, if you guys are looking for a channel that talks about fashion in the most fantastic, bitchy, analytical way, this is it. You can move down below, hit the subscribe button, and turn on my post notifications. I mean, like, what do you have to lose? You're already here. And if you guys want to see more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at HauteLeMode. I post some pretty poppin' fashion memes, and my Instagram stories always have the best fashion news and gossip you need to know. And if you want to see even more from me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at HauteLeMess. I post more of my personal outfits and opinions, so enjoy. So yeah, Cardi B has become one of the most popular musicians currently in pop culture and has evolved from
"My name is Cardi B and I am from the Bronx"
to a full-fledged icon in her own right. She's had over 100 million streams on Apple Music alone and has the longest running #1 by a solo female rapper and has been Grammy nominated. Yet her fashion choices have not always been extremely popular, and she has had some fashion-based controversies, like being dressed by well-known racist Dolce & Gabbana, and got in the iconic fight with Nicki Minaj at the Harper's Bazaar Icons Party in 2018. But in recent months, Cardi B, alongside her stylist Colin Carter, have been delivering a ridiculous amount of looks that have transformed Cardi B from just another rapper on the scene to a low-key fashion icon we haven't seen since the likes of Rihanna. A little bio about Cardi B though. Born Belcalis Almanzar on October 11, 1992, she was born in Manhattan but was raised in the Bronx, and her upbringing wasn't the easiest. She started running with a gang at the age of 16, and from there she began stripping in order to make a living for herself. And she's not afraid to say that it actually was an amazing thing for her personally. I mean, like, have you seen Hustlers?
We're gonna help her learn how to do a real dance.
Oh, I'm good at that.
She gained fame on Instagram and Vine for her over-the-top and comedic videos and was on the reality show Love and Hip Hop New York. From there, she released 2 mixtapes titled Gangsta Bitch Music 1 and 2, respectively. And when she released Bodak Yellow in 2017, her entire career changed, and from there she's only grown in popularity and has become the Cardi B that we now know. Cardi's fashion journey started when she was put on the cover of The Fader magazine for the July-August 2017 issue. There she met stylist Colin Carter, who, might I add, is hot as fuck. Just saying. After that shoot, the two began working together consistently. Colin has been integral in some of the many fashion moments for Cardi. He helped her during her Dolce & Gabbana phase. Listen, the leopard glasses are iconic for the sole reason that they are so vile. And he was a godsend for getting her in vintage Mugler 1995 fall-winter haute couture. But shout out to Cardi for actually fitting into that Mugler look, because many a French person has told me that it's very difficult to stuff your stuff in that stuff. Just saying. In reality, all of these moments have been a run-up to her most recent stint, or stunt, at Paris Fashion Week. During the Spring-Summer 2020 Paris Fashion Week, Cardi stepped out in 6 looks that were quite diverse, yet held the gaze of the world. If you weren't watching Cardi B during this most recent season, you weren't watching anything of interest. And I mean, I did a whole video on all of the fashion shows you should know, so if you want to see what you missed out on, which wasn't much, you can click up here. The series of looks started with a Richard Quinn Fall 2019 Ensemble, look 34 if you must know. Richard Quinn is a British designer famed for his all-consuming printed outfits, which have been likened to the late queer artist Lee Bowery. But in an interview with Interview magazine, he confirms that the enshrouding fabric looks were inspired by the artist Paul Harris's 1960s art pieces titled Seated Figures. Quinn notes the dark edge it has, and seeing as how the models are almost consumed by the upholstered furniture, it makes sense why the wearers of Quinn's clothing look like they have been consumed by a British granny's old couch. The print on this look is heavily inspired by the 1960s and has quite a British flair, which would make sense since Quinn actually recreates vintage prints he finds. The look consists of a wide-shouldered coat with a crystal-encrusted belt, a pleated skirt, matching tights, gloves, a hood, and an opaque face mask, all in the 1960s-inspired cartoonish florals. Cardi wore the look in front of the Eiffel Tower, in a video watched at least 8 million times. You are unable to see Cardi's face, yet you can hear her voice, and what she says in the video is quite reminiscent of her early Vines and Instagram videos. Here's the video if you need a refresher course.
What's poppin', baby? I heard you bitches was missing me in Fashion Week, New York. I'm here to serve it to y'all motherfuckers. And serve it to you cold. You bitches could really never.
Open it up, guys. Come on.
I got it.
Madam, excusez-moi. Excusez-moi,
They
madame.
show a car don't hit me, cause the bitch can't see.
She even says she doesn't want to be hit by a car because she can't see, which gives us a little bit of insight into Quinn's fabric choices. And according to Launch Metrics, a data analytics company who works within the fashion and luxury space, the video is said to have the biggest MIV or media impact value, saying the video was worth $1.4 million in a digital sense, which also happened to be the biggest MIV of the entirety of Fashion Month. So your Dior's, Louis Vuitton's, Prada's, Chanel's can't even match it. And that should make Richard Quinn and his couch prints quite comfy. The video and Twitter actually helped to bring to light a very serious issue within French society. A law passed by France in 2010 actually has an €160 financial fine for wearing a face covering. The ban has mostly targeted the Muslim community in France and has been an attack on the traditional garment, the niqab, which usually covers the wearer's entirety except for the eyes. While the mask Cardi wears is actually a reference to a mask worn by gimps in the BDSM community, note, it raises the question on whether or not the Muslim community should be persecuted for wearing the garment or if there is a clear double standard. And I'd like to know whether or not Cardi B got a ticket while she was hanging out in front of the tower, because that would be a very important thing to know in terms of fashion investigative journalism. Personally, as long as someone is wearing a niqab of their own choice and free will, I don't have a problem with it and I don't think anybody else should. If you guys want to say that fashion is not political, Cardi has something to say. Next, let's talk about her Thom Browne look. Cardi B has been working with Thom Browne to create insane outfits that currently are going down in fashion history. Namely her 2019 Met Gala outfit, which was a red custom quilted gown with gigantic train. It was done to fit in the theme of that year, which was camp, notes on fashion. If you'd like to learn more about the theme, you can actually watch my video on it. Click up here, enjoy. Essentially, it was all about being irreverent and over the top and ridiculous and fighting and breaking out of societal norms, which Cardi has no problem doing whatsoever. You give her a rule and she will most likely break it. Thom Browne, besides being known for creating crazy, over-the-top Met Gala looks, has also been a pioneer because he has turned boring corporate styles like gray suits on their heads. From short suits to creepy seersucker Jason hockey masks to ridiculous office panniers, Thom has turned a boring style on its head. It's no wonder Cardi is drawn to the flamboyant brand, which literally has no limits. Cardi showed up to the Spring-Summer 2020 Thom Browne show in a gray padded skirt suit. She wears a blazer that is wasp-waisted with quite curvaceous hips, which is on top of a padded pencil skirt whose shape falls and rises like waves. She is also wearing Thom Browne pumps, which are a runway classic and incorporate the style of a derby shoe. Notice Thom Browne's mixture of white-collar classics with crazy cultural references. The look was nice to see because it actually showed a cementation of Cardi's relationship with Browne and his brand. Browne was one of the first designers to really take Cardi seriously as a celebrity that could pull off crazy press-garnering looks. And on top of that, Cardi is the perfect fashion brand sounding board, as her Instagram stories actually had her narrating the details of her Thom Browne bag called the Mr. Thom bag. The bag is actually quite interesting, as it is worth $60,000 and has been worn in the past by LeBron James. Could it be a luxury competitor to Louis Vuitton and Hermes? I don't know. It could. Cardi could have given it some cultural relevancy, and maybe it will make an appearance in a few Cardi-verses soon. Cardi and Colin Carter really are full of surprises. When I saw her Edda Gimnes look, I was genuinely taken aback. Gimnes gained widespread notoriety within fashion when she claimed that Moschino creative director Jeremy Scott had stolen her painted aesthetic for the Italian brand's Spring-Summer 2019 collection. Her Spring-Summer 2017 collection had scribbles all over dresses, shoes, hats, and bags. When Scott debuted the collection, Gimnes quickly posted on Instagram stating the unwanted referencing. Even said that she met with a representative from Moschino in New York showing them her sketchbooks. So it's great to see her work ending up on such a massive celebrity like Cardi, especially when the fashion industry is usually quick to dump those who speak out against injustice in the industry. But the crazy thing is, Cardi has actually been a huge supporter of Jeremy Scott and his Moschino collections. She's worn many looks from quite a few collections, but the craziest thing is, she's actually worn the exact scribble look Gimnes cited as copied by Moschino. In reality, Cardi is playing both sides in a way I've never actually seen done before, The pieces that she wore that were by Gimnes was a coat, hat, boots, and bag with illustrated prints, almost like little different colored geodes. Gimnes has diversified her brand through clothing and accessories, and Cardi has helped to legitimize her. Underneath the coat and accessories is an Aliette bodysuit. It's nothing special, really. Overall, such a controversial little fashion outfit. Then came probably my favorite look. Like, I genuinely was speechless due to this dress, and truly still am, and like, you all know me, very rarely am I not talking. So the dress was made by Nicolas JeBran, the Lebanese haute couturier, who has made looks for Cardi in the past. She wore a velvet Nicolas JeBran dress to the VMAs in 2018, and wore another green custom look for performing on stage after. The looks weren't the best, but it seems that JeBran has stepped up his game, as this leather dress and boots are superb. The leather is draped in such a spectacular way, folded and pulled like Willy Wonka taffy, with this asymmetrical large sash falling down the front. I know everyone gets mad at me for saying simple yet effective, but like, this truly is that. The fabric looks of such a beautiful texture and quality, and leather, which is normally like very stiff, here looks like it is very malleable, which is nice to see. Also, notice this is the most liked photo of Cardi during her Fashion Week escapades, with 2.7 million likes. This actually beat out her Richard Quinn video. This truly is elegant, with effective fabrics that are draped in a fun yet sexy way. Simple yet effective, I have no more to say, this is the moment. I may be talking about Cardi's last look of the week out of turn, but I want to end this on a positive note. This top and skirt by Aliette was where Colin and Cardi dropped the ball. Yikes. While they definitely could have worn something even more boring, I felt that the circle-shaped top in what looks like a military green wool was just a bit try-hard. There wasn't really anything significant about it, and I know why. There is a small but growing group of fashion stylists who are starting to create their own brands, and well, they aren't designers, and it shows. The most famous one currently is Brandon Maxwell, and he is joined by stylist and founder of Aliette, Jason Rembret. In reality, the clothing just isn't inspired. They haven't really spent time in the studio creating and experimenting with garments. They're just making derivative, commercial ready-to-wear that we don't really need. I think the simple pencil skirt is a perfect example of this as well. As for the boots, they're Python knee-highs by Yves Saint Laurent. But honestly, I'd rather see Cardi in a full, crazy architectural and sculptural look by Anthony Vaccarello and his team at YSL. In reality, I'm grateful for Cardi's looks this season. It's given me hope for celebrities and pop stars finding their way back into the idea of using fashion as a tool for making statements and great cultural moments. This look was not a part of that though, at all, so let's just forget it. So for the final look, Cardi B is in a full Chanel moment, sitting front row at the Spring-Summer 2020 show. While Chanel does have a new creative director named Virginie Viard, who worked with Karl Lagerfeld at the house for around 30 years, Cardi wore a look from Karl's final collection. Thank God. She wore the opening look from the fall 2019 collection, which was a take on a ski chalet and had plaids and houndstooth galore. It also has quite a masculine feeling, almost like referencing to 1940s and 50s men's suiting. I'm also just getting a little hint of New York mob goes to the ski chalet for the weekend. The look Cardi wore was a plaid tweed wide-leg jumpsuit with a matching plaid tweed fedora. Normally, fedoras are gross, and you should know that. And they also happen to usually be the favorite accessory of cringy white men, but Cardi pulled it off well, and I mean, like, that pantsuit is fire. The tweed is a Chanel signature and is form-fitting. While the wide leg pant actually makes it a little bit fashion forward, the black and white houndstooth coat slung over one shoulder helped to add like a little bit of a different dimension, a little bit of texture, while keeping it consistent in terms of the black and white 1940s and 50s aesthetic. The classic black quilted chain strap Chanel bag was a Caro classic, which was adopted from a Coco Chanel design, and it was a perfect way to finish off this full Chanel look. While I think that the Chanel runway crasher Maurice Infiltré made the most headlines from the Chanel show, this look from Cardi in Chanel was incredibly important. Cardi B comes from the High Bridge neighborhood in the Bronx, which is reportedly not the best area, and Cardi has detailed that as well. And she's also detailed her upward struggle to get where she is now. Cardi, who was a stripper, is now sitting next to some of the richest women in the world, front row at Chanel. And to note, Chanel is the top of the top in terms of the fashion food chain. Only the richest and baddest bitches actually can buy it, afford it, and wear it. Notice how Cardi is not seen as someone to ignore by Chanel, but instead someone they want to dress. Fashion is an industry all about perception, and pretty much appeasing the upper crust of society and wealth. There are classes and barriers in place, especially from the luxury houses themselves. I mean, think about Hermes. You have to get on a wait list to buy a $60,000 bag. So for Cardi to help break down that mold is actually really interesting to watch. I mean, look at past brand ambassadors. You have Margot Robbie, Lily Rose Depp, Willow Smith, Nicole Kidman, and the list goes on. These are all women who fit into the mold of perfect and groomed and coming from the right pedigree. And in reality, Cardi and her story isn't exactly on brand for Chanel. So it's interesting to see that they really do care and want to dress her. And while Cardi isn't an official muse, being dressed in the opening look from Karl Lagerfeld's finale Chanel collection is about as close to a Chanel ambassador as you're gonna get. Cardi honestly is like breaking barriers, and to be honest, she's really not somebody who I think could have ever really had this major fashion journey, but I'm also so pleasantly surprised to see her changing the game. Cardi is someone everyone, and I mean everyone, should be looking towards, not for fashion advice or for which trend you should follow. I'm not saying she looks bad, but I'm saying you should be looking to her because she's unapologetic in herself and she's so unafraid to step out of the confines placed on her by fashion, society, everything. She's just unafraid. People often ask me, who's your style icon? Who do you like want to dress like? Nobody. I want to dress like myself, but it doesn't mean that I can't appreciate somebody that is really like taking steps and making bounds to actually be interesting and over the top and wonderful and cool and creative and smart and intellectual with their clothing. That's a style icon. Now, Cardi is not perfect, and I am not saying that she is, but her cultural impact this fashion week is impressive and something that will go down in fashion history to say the very least. Now, that is the end of the video. I would love to hear what you guys think about Cardi, her style, whether or not she is going to be a fashion icon we look forward to and, you know, remember throughout history, or if she really isn't anything special and you just think, ugh, I don't get it. I'd love to know all of your opinions in the comments down below. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I had so much fun putting this video together. So that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys on the next one, and TTYL.